Hey, welcome back to DieCash Cars. So today we got an RLC mail call, and it is this Dodge Tradesman in Spectra Flame Purple. And man, this thing is just stunning. 1/64 scale. It is a first edition for this cast. It has multiple opening features, and by scale, it's very detailed. It's very proportionate. It has a lot of really interesting features that they captured super well at this scale level. And we're going to dive into all the details as to why this car is so good that it might even be a little bit bad. So I am not a 70s kid, and I did not grow up with vans like this, but from what I can gather, they depicted this casting very accurately. I mean, conversion vans were a pretty big craze back in the day. You can see there's a lot of customizations with this one in particular. It's got ground effects all the way around. It's got side pipes here. It's got louvers on the rear window. It's got this little custom teardrop window here in the back. All the side panels are blocked to give that privacy, and we'll get into that detail a little bit later. It does have this sunroof with the opening feature. Kind of reminds me of the VW Bug, the Kawabunga, that has the opening front windshield. It's got this aftermarket front grille. I mean, it's pretty visually stunning. Other cool, neat feature and very Hot Wheels style is that they did give it that raked look. It's got the bigger, meatier wheels on the back, the smaller ones in the front. And the major highlight with this cast has to be the opening door features. 2 sets to be exact. 2 on the side and 2 on the rear end of this cast. And the other interesting thing that they captured in 1/64 too is that there is a sequence to opening and closing these doors. So on this left door, as you can see, there is a little extra lip on the inside, and that's the same on the left door on the side doors as well too. But that basically means that you have to close the left door before you can close the right, and that's very accurate. I recall my dad actually having a couple of these for his business, and I always remembered about these doors as well too, is you gotta close the left before the right, and if you do it in the opposite sequence, you'll actually end up with closing issues, right? The other thing that I'll note for you guys too is that you don't want to open up these doors too wide. There's nothing stopping it from going and touching the paint. So for instance, this right door here, again, if you open it up all the way, you will definitely touch that front passenger door, and you can definitely cause nicks and scratches. It was such a great interior. You would expect that the interior would be just as well detailed, and that it is. You can see opening up the doors here, that exposes the textured floor that mimics shag carpeting. It does have a pink rug in there, and also a pink bench, if you can see way in the back there. In the back of the van, you'll see that's the waterbed, fully accessorized with pillows, and there's also a partition in there that separates the back of the van to the front. And what's interesting, if you go on the RLC website, it talks about the interior of this van really setting the mood. This van is referred to as the Shaggin' Wagon if you look at the back of the box that it comes out of. And I guess the most interesting thing is the last sentence here talks about if this van is a rockin'... right? So we all kind of know what that means. The license plate on this van also says Rockin'. And now we're going to get into the conversation about how this van may be borderline inappropriate and bad in a sense, right? Because if you think about it, Hot Wheels is a kid's toy brand, and I get it. RLC releases are set as adult collectibles. I believe the age group that they target is 14 plus. But there's obviously a suggestive theme with this relief, which is kind of funny, and it's interesting how Hot Wheels and Mattel kind of leaned into it. And again, I don't have anything negative to say about it, but it's just kind of surprising that we're getting this kind of release from Hot Wheels, a children's toy, when there's just so many sensitivities to things like this with parents and their kids. I mean, this just makes me think about another Dodge casting that was somewhat controversial, and it is this, the Dodge Challenger Demon, as Hot Wheels calls it, but we all know that in real life this is also referred to as the Hellcat. So from what I know about this cast is that when they released it, they left the Hellcat off because they didn't want little kids going around saying HE double hockey sticks, and they just chose to call it the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon, as if demon was that much better of a word to be throwing out there from a toy standpoint. So what I'm saying is Hot Wheels went to the lengths of censoring this Dodge Challenger and its name, but when it came to this RLC release, they leaned right into it and portrayed it exactly how, I guess you could say, the Urban Dictionary would describe a shaggin' wagon. And I'm not saying Hot Wheels or Mattel is wrong for that. I actually think it's kind of hilarious, again, just from an adult humor side of things, but I could see where somebody might have some sensitivities around it. So let me know in the comments what you think. So with the good and the bad out of the way, let's just talk about pricing. So right now, currently secondary market price, this RLC Dodge Tradesman is selling for around $70, which is pretty good return given that you could buy a limit of 2 of these per count. I know I personally purchased 2 just to save on shipping, and it came out to exactly $80 pretty much. So I felt like that was a pretty fair price. So essentially you can double your money on each one of these that you purchased. And based on all the features thus far mentioned, this is definitely not a stagnant cast to where there is no interest. I mean, these are essentially being pursued by all the collectors. Everybody who did not get one is definitely trying to add one to their collection. Just the color itself is pretty intoxicating and would make any collector want to add this to their collection. From a long-term value standpoint, again, this is purely speculative, but I don't see this car going above triple figures. I think it'll come close. I think long-term value, we can expect it to hit maybe that 80, 90 range. Moving forward, I mean, to me, it's comparable to the new features that we saw on the Impala lowrider car, where you could adjust all the suspensions. This being a first edition, having multiple opening doors, just having a very unique color and overall theme to it, I think really adds to the value moving forward. But I do see this getting recolored in the future by RLC. I can't imagine that they put this cast together to only give it to us one time. But vans in general, I would say, aren't everybody's primary focus when it comes to their collections. It's a nice addition piece to what you already have, but everybody's really going for JDM, sports cars, exotics, Porsches, etc. Dodge vans aren't typically on everybody's #1 spot for what they're pursuing. My plan of attack, as I have 2 of these Dodge Tradesmans, is to keep one in the collection and use the other as a trade piece or potentially sell it off so that I can at least recoup some of the money that I used to purchase everything. And then the one in my collection, I'll just sit on it and watch the values go up. Right? And within my collection, I'm definitely going to display it right next to the Reuse Rides Dodge Van Super Treasure Hunt that came out last year in 2022. I feel like both of these in Spectre Flame Pink along with the purple RLC go really well together. Maybe it's something to see moving forward, Dodge vans. And you guys know I am purely a JDM collector, but I do enjoy the JDM nature of this Dojiban, how they styled it, a drift Dodge van. And again, you can't hate the original roots of the Dodge van from the 70s being portrayed as a shaggin' wagon. So definitely 2 different ends of the spectrum, but I think together they display well and work well in the collection. That's what I got for you guys today. Just a quick review of the Dodge Tradesman from RLC. Hopefully you were able to get 1 or 2 of these in your collection. Let me know what your plans are with these cars. Are you holding long term? Are you just keeping them both for your collection? And as always, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on DieCash Cars.